Oh, what's going down, y'all? Your homie Jay Green back right now with my thoughts and feelings on episode 1, season 2 of Peacemaker. Now, I've just recently started reviewing series on my channel. I'm not going to do it for every damn thing that comes out, but I'm definitely going to do it for some of the things that I've been looking forward to the most. And I'm going to bring y'all pretty much anything and everything that has to do with DC, because I'm super happy and excited as to where the DC is going to be going. And as I've mentioned, I'm not really going to be giving y'all play-by-plays for every single episode or the series as a whole, but I am going to be giving y'all touch points and vibes that I'm getting from the episodes and from the series as a whole, and I'm gonna let y'all know what excites me as I watch these series progress. That being said, episode 1 of season 2 for Peacemaker was hella fly, crazy good. If y'all have not checked it out, y'all need to get on that like ASAP Rocky. Number 1, this episode starts out with a really fly recap of the first season. So if you didn't see the first season, you can just jump right into this, kind of getting caught up to speed with that recap. Not only was that recap pretty thorough and entertaining in of itself, breaking down that first season, but it also retcons some of the things that are not going to be transferred over from the old DCEU and gives us a little bit of a preview and a mention to some of the new characters and the new swag coming to us from the brand new DCU. And I thought they did it in a very smooth way that didn't feel jarring at all and answers some of those questions up top for some of us that are wondering, how are they really going to fit all of this in to the brand new DCU, considering that James Gunn and Peter Safran have already come out and said, yo, everything from the past, Zack Snyder's universe and world that he created, not coming over here. Number 2, what made the first season of Peacemaker so fly to me is mainly James Gunn. Everybody in the show was fly as hell, yes, but it's really James Gunn's sensibility, his authorship, if you will, and his directing abilities that made that first season so great. And in this first episode, everything that he did in that first season with John Cena and all the surrounding cast around him, you can tell that he's building upon that, not just in that it seems like John Cena's a 10 times better actor in this first episode than he was in that previous season. He's grown in his craft, but also where this story is going. Now, let me break both those notions down. 1, where the story is going, and then 2, how the acting has been improved upon from the first season. In this episode, we're basically catching up with the team from before, right? We get a little touch of everyone, but it's mainly focusing on Harcourt and Peacemaker. Where are they now? Remember that in that previous season's conclusion, there was a lot of things that were uncovered and laid out bare to the public. And obviously, if you were on that team and you were working for Amanda Waller and you put her on Front Street, you would imagine there's going to be some repercussions. And right now, we're catching up with what those repercussions are in regards to Harcourt. This chick in the first season, she's a badass. She don't play no games. She lives for this shit, right? But based on some of the choices that she made in that first season, kind of going against the grain, that put her in a bit of a pickle in the sense that now she's basically blackballed from all government agencies and she don't know what to do. Her life, from her perspective, is essentially over. And we're seeing Jennifer Holland acting her ass off as she is laying out all her emotions and frustrations in that fact and in that reality, in that what she knows best, she might not ever be able to do again. At least not from a legal standpoint. And there's moments in this episode where we see her purposely getting into like a bar fight and acting out with rage and anger and such an intensity that you feel it coming off the screen. And we're catching up with Peacemaker as someone who has had his hand in saving the world on 2 separate occasions. 1 in the Suicide Squad movie, and then 2 in Peacemaker season 1. And at this point in time, he wants a bit more recognition. He wants to be on a legitimate Justice Gang or Justice League style team. And that's kind of what he has his mind and his heart set on. While at the same time, this guy is still emotionally haunted by the fact that he killed his brother back in the day and killed his dad in season 1. But he knew what he had to do in order to get the job done. So we're getting multiple layers to both of these main characters that essentially are the leaders of this team, whereas everyone else around them, we are catching up with where they're at, and they're either going to be the cheerleaders for certain characters, trying to pump them up and help them to move forward, or they're someone who's maybe working with other people that are watching some of these main characters, making sure that they are not getting into any trouble they shouldn't be getting into. Now, what made season 1 so dope was really the sensibility, the writing, and the directing abilities of a James Gunn and his ability to pull amazing performances out of someone like John Cena. Everybody surrounding this guy is a qualified actor, people who probably went to school specifically for that. John Cena is a wrestler. He's acting, he's performing, yes, but at a completely different level. When you put someone in a movie or a TV show, it's a different nuance, a whole nother swag. And I thought that John Cena did great in that first season. Here in this first episode, this man has stepped his acting capabilities and his skill set up quite a bit, let me tell you, because he is selling not just the jokes and the action, of course, but he's also selling the emotion. The emotion that his character is portraying in this first episode was deep, deep, deep. So it was dope to see him in this first episode playing all those different levels of emotion and selling them to the fullest degree. And I'm like, God damn, this acting is phenomenal from both John Cena and Jennifer Holland. I'm super sold on everything that this show is about to give me because of them two alone, let alone everything else that James Gunn put in there. We'll talk about that in a second. So seeing what Hardcore is going through and what Peacemaker is going through and the way that they're dealing with it and how it's affecting them, I really wasn't expecting to say, damn, I feel like I'm watching a drama with touches of superhero style action, and it's freaking working. Amazing stuff.
I love it when a plan comes together.
And of course, with James Gunn's sensibility and John Cena's comedic chops, this first episode definitely had some really good laughs. Not straight laugh out loud moments like we're trying to make you laugh, but more so those dark humor, sarcastic type moments from certain characters, especially in the way that they're interacting with each other. Episode 1 also hints that Hardcore and Peacemaker may have hooked up once or twice in between season 1 and season 2. There's a really funny scene with Peacemaker and a couple of members of the Justice Gang. I'm not gonna lay out what that scene is, but just know that that scene holds weight in regards to how Peacemaker is feeling in these moments in the aftermath after what jumped off in season 1. But what I really love that this first episode does and got me hella on board for where this series is about to go is it gives Peacemaker an opportunity to see what his life would have been like if he hadn't made some of those choices from the past. And because we've caught up with Peacemaker in such a time where he's feeling so low, so down, so depressed in a sense, feeling like he ain't ish, really not comfortable with how people are viewing him, things of this nature, for him to see such a happy opportunity, it's almost an overwhelming amount of emotion because you're super happy that he's interacting, you're so engaged that he's interacting with this potential life, but you also know that this potential life can't possibly last, right? It's gotta end. This whole little facade has gotta come to a close. And in the end of the episode, when it does come to a close, it comes to a close in amazing fashion. Dope fight scene. Great to see the powers that be, if you will, and how they are used from said individuals. I'm not going to spoil it. Watch the show. But I thought that the show, putting everybody in their position right now where they're at after the events that jumped off in season 1, giving us new levels of emotion for the main characters of the show with phenomenal acting from the main characters of this show, and then giving us this hypothetical life that Peacemaker could have lived, crashing down with a glorious fight, and now leaving us at a cliffhanger in this first episode. And not a cliffhanger just for this episode, a cliffhanger as to this is going to play out over the course of the season. I'm so on board for this. Big ups to James Gunn for giving us something deeper to dive into in this first episode, aside from just the comedy that we know from the first season and what we know John Cena can do, and action. Developing this first episode in emotion brings me more into this world, more into this story, more into the characters, and it has me salivating for the next episode. Also, another thing that I think is pretty fly is that after the episode, it goes into one of those like podcasts where you hear different actors and James Gunn kind of talking about that particular episode. Now, they did that with Alien Earth, and I think it was still dope and fly, but for me personally, you're only hearing the voices and you're seeing different images from the show, right? Stills from the show. So it's hard sometimes to differentiate who's talking and when they're talking. Whereas this, it's actually James Gunn and you see other people and they're talking about some of the intentions behind what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it, things of that nature. And I thought that was pretty fly. And for anybody out there who doesn't really understand this genre as much, but you want to kind of step into it and you're like, I'm kind of curious. I think it would be great for you to be able to watch the show, you have your own thoughts and feelings, and then watch the podcast, get some more understanding of what are we really talking about here. So definitely check out the podcast that comes on after the shows. I think you're really going to enjoy it, and I think it's going to level up your understanding of what the show is trying to offer you and give you a deeper appreciation. Yo, that's all I got for you right now. I hope y'all sticking with me as the series progresses. Same thing with Alien Earth. If you didn't check that out yet, go ahead and check that out. Let me know what you're thinking about that show. Your homie, Jay Green, I'm out.